Hey, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, very good. Thank you. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for taking your time out of your day for hopping on this call with me and telling
That's no
us more
problem.
about your project.
Where are you calling in from?
Yeah, I'm from California. Where are you from?
I see. Yeah, I'm from London. I'm from London. Yeah, I love
London.
California.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah,
A lot of people collecting
whenever you come
NFTs
out
out in
here,
California.
yeah, whenever you have to come out here,
Mm.
whenever you come out, you have to visit with us.
Yeah. I mean, probably sometime during this year or next year, hopefully. It's been a while because of COVID, but yeah, I used to go quite often to
Yeah.
California.
Yeah, so like we know PS Labs is a pretty successful project already on Terra, and you guys have proven yourself with the development and like generative airdrop side. You guys have been like one of the top leaders in that sector of NFTs, and I want to ask you. My first question is why you chose Stargaze after like the whole Terra thing happened. Uh, we're not gonna talk about it, but yeah,
Yeah, there you can talk about anything. But that's a good question because uh, essentially that's the big question every single project was asking immediately after like the big Terra collapse. And for me, I didn't really consider them, to be honest, at the beginning until like my I've got like a brother-in-law who's like sort of tells me what to do basically. He's very experienced. He's an investor in a lot of different crypto stuff, and he basically told me to take a look at them, and I did. And then still wasn't sure. Um, but then over like a few days, he came over to London to visit, and then during that time, he like sort of really convinced me about them. So I just like took a leap of faith and just like went, okay, we'll do it because he's the same guy who told me to go to Terra, and he was totally correct about that. So I trust I trust that he knows more than me. So, um, and like he's been in the space for like 10 years more, so he just like understands what's good. So
yeah,
yeah, and then so I just made that decision, and it wasn't very popular with our team, to be honest. As in, people were not sure because every market has its own upsides and downsides. Like I think most people were basically looking at places like Solana immediately after, and pretty much no one was really looking at Stargaze. Essentially, just like we're the only ones. But
yeah,
yeah, we made it work.
yeah. Like definitely when we were thinking of the process too of where should we like call our new home, we were debating it, and Stargaze is smaller. That's the whole thing about it, but that could also be an advantage if you really capture the audience and you can have everyone's attention.
Yeah, and I mean, other than there are technical reasons to why we chose it as well, which I didn't really cover, which is essentially the fact it's like an NFT specific blockchain. Like I know the developers there are only going to be building for NFTs going forwards, and that's what I like to hear because I'm I'm an NFT maxi, and it's good to know that they're NFT maxis. When we're on Terra and stuff, it's kind of like NFTs a bit of a side hustle to sort of all the DeFi degenning that was happening.
Yeah,
So it was like is for me it was more about another big part of the decision was just not necessarily going where the volume or like the market really is. It's like going where people are basically where it's like future proof, and I know like these people are going to be building specifically around the services that we want to roll out as well, rather than around like sort of liquidity pools and all the general DeFi stuff that everyone does on crypto, which I don't do, by the way. I don't do any of that. I don't know how to do it. So yeah, um, yeah, that's the reason. At the end of the day, it was just like we had to make a decision and get out of this gray area because that was the worst part. Was just being in this like gray area of not knowing where to go.
yeah. Like that's the whole thing about Stargaze. it's really built for developers and people that build, you know. And coming from Terra, it's basically the same, like background stuff. Like you could copy your NFTs from Terra over pretty easy.
Yeah. Are you a developer as well?
I'm not a developer, but I do a little bit of everything. So
Yeah.
that's the kind of the only part I'm really lacking in as far as
Nice.
like the whole process. But
Yeah.
we have an awesome team, and we have one guy that focuses specifically on that, and he's really good with code. So it's
Yeah.
great. Like all I really had to do is send him the public awesome open source GitHub, and
Yeah.
that's the great
You
thing
sorted it
about
all
this.
out.
It's all open source. It's public, and Shane even has a video where he's showing you how he built it. So I think it's like so
Yeah.
developer friendly, and like that's only a plus, especially for NFTs, because on Terra, there's a big question like when staking for NFTs, and the Stargaze is gonna deliver on that. Like they're gonna be the
And
first.
Stargazer already has burn function, right? And like I can't believe Terra never even had burn function. It's a basic thing, you know, in
Yeah,
NFTs. They didn't even have that. It's just like very much trying to work around what like Terra was building, and they weren't building for us. So that's like I'm really happy with the decision, and obviously with the response we've received from the Stargaze community, I'm like really, really happy with our decision now. Um, but yeah, we will. Yeah, we it paid off massively. So we're just like now it's nice to just be building again, like just getting as you know, like next week we'll be launching the X collection again, getting the lab fired up again. So
oh
I'm really
nice.
looking forward to just like all that stuff, getting everyone just participating.
Yeah, did you get a chance to see our market research on?
Yeah, I did see it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so
really
like
good. Thanks.
I was kind of that's I wanted to talk to you before it, but like
Yeah,
some
yeah.
stuff
Sorry,
happened.
I was away on a.
Yeah, it's
I had a big
fine.
weekend.
But I felt like I kind of leaked a little bit of alpha because I talked about the
No, it's
lab
fine.
coming from
Ah, it's
Terra,
fine.
and like people
No,
who
no,
own
there's no.
Stargaze are not familiar with it. So is that coming? Can you confirm it?
There's no, you know, yeah, it's coming. It's definitely coming. It's coming next week.
Awesome.
It's dropping on the same day we drop the collection. So the day that the X tokens are released is the same day that you can take your tokens to the lab and then start rendering. So it's all ready. It was built already like a week ago. We just yeah, we just Stargaze Citizens was just like such a how you say unexpected success that um it kind of sidetrack. It didn't really sidetrack us. Actually, it's the opposite. It made us like move straight forwards again. But we did just release this collection as like something that was kind of like sitting in our back pocket. We were gonna just go straight to the X collection, but we had like more work to do on sort of all the migration side of stuff. So we just released this like just in that in that time in the middle, and then it was just like more popular than I think the X collection. Even it was just crazy. Like people loved it. So yeah, we're definitely now going forwards, pushing. We're gonna have two types of projects. One is like essentially the X project, X and O projects, which are like just utility. They're just like pure utility token that just lets you render your own NFTs and then you can go sell them on the marketplace and make money. Um, and then obviously your Stargaze is a PFP, and we're going to be building around that in its own way. So I think there was a bit of confusion right at the beginning when we first released Stargaze, especially with our existing customers or users. That like, oh, is it just going to be the same thing in terms of utility? It's not. It's going to be totally different. Um, and I'll be like, I'll tell you. I'll even like. We'll move on to, I guess, even later on today. But yeah, I don't mind sharing essentially more about what's going to happen because I'll announce it like sort of in the next few days to a week anyway.
Yeah, like
Just
we would
yeah,
love to broadcast some alpha because
yeah, yeah,
the lab you guys will be like the first ones doing this sort of how can I call it, like a hub for your NFTs where you could grow them and morph
yeah.
more,
So
kind of a morphing system.
So the that's basically so it's Stargaze Citizens. The more like immediate roadmap is first of all, well, the idea with Stargaze, or just let's call it Citizens, right? Is that uh, we're going to try and create like a citizens population in like each blockchain. So we are going to release like different collections of different citizens, all with like different themes. So the next one we're working on actually already in the background is Ethereum citizens, and that is going to be sort of like the home of the great apes and like the sort of the best cryptographic minds in the universe will be there, and so we're like currently building that world. Then we'll be moving on to then Polygon, and we're going to call it like the forests of Polygon, and that'll be like a more sort of mythical forest, very natural beings, sort of trees, flowers, bears, stags. So I just we're going to create all kinds of like humanoid characters, and so because Polygon's meant to be like a very eco-friendly chain, so we're really building around the sort of
Mm,
their
yeah.
sort of for our use case for um, as the blockchain. Anyway, there's two reasons why we're going to sort of at the very first things we do is release a few more collections in different places. You might have seen in the traits of the Stargaze Citizens, it says quadrant, and then that says Stargaze, and that's like meant to be like going forwards. Each quadrant that will be like their trait, and like hopefully in uh, not too long time, people can move their citizen from one city to another once cross chain comes in, right?
Wow.
Um, so so basically, there's that. Like, we want people to be able to move their citizen from one to another. Then number two, the reason why we're doing that first is because with Bored Ape Yacht Club and Crypto Punks, um, basically how like every single blockchain has a derivative project of those two projects, or and like a few others. Maybe like the Doodles is another. Um, I just want to make sure that we have our project on each blockchain before. I mean, I don't mind, like, I'm not nothing against derivative projects, but I just want to make sure that we have our own project there first, just because I really want to be in control of how we grow this out in the future. Because in my head, the utility is very much going to be about sort of cross chain behavior. I won't tell you exactly what the utility is going to be just yet. Give it a week, and I'll probably tell everyone. But for now, I'll leave you with the fact that we're essentially building like the Ethereum citizens, which is going to be sort of like this sort of ape central with sort of like these sorts of big cryptographic minds. We're going to put Vitalik Buterin in. We're going to put Satoshi in.
Yeah.
Um, we're putting some like big characters into it as well, and we're going to put a massive ape population in
That's
as well.
cool. Like, will
Um,
will holders get like a discount for any
yes, they will.
drop? Yeah,
Yes, they will.
that sounds cool.
So whitelist, the only way we'll see. In Terra, we always with our whitelist used to always say like you can only get a whitelist if you own a PS Labs NFT in your wallet. That's the only way to get a whitelist. I'm not sure if like for the move to Ethereum, if we should stick with that or like I think because it's a big beast, right? Trying to break into a place like a market like Ethereum. So
It's a
I
lot of
think
competition.
yeah, I think something like whitelist will really come into play in our marketing. So we'll see. But usually I'm not like too hard on marketing to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I like to just like get my head down and just make sure it's crazy good. But
Yeah.
obviously you can't just be like that, especially with like a market this big like Ethereum. So that's
Yeah.
like a separate discussion to be had. But at least everyone who has a PS Labs NFT will get on whitelist, and everyone with a whitelist will get a discount. So it's really important for me that like our current users and community have like a cheap access or entry point into like the Ethereum NFT market, because obviously everyone knows it's like super bullish and elite, like just they're very expensive. So I just want to make sure that like you know, our users can still get in for the price of, like a big round of beers and a cinema ticket. Um, and then they can get their citizen. Like maybe it's just one, but at least they have one. Um, but yeah, we'll see. Maybe just a ballpark figure is probably like between $50 to $100 on release, but we'll see. Like I would expect around that, and supply not sure, but yeah, Ethereum working on that maybe 1 or 2 months. Give me about 1.5 months, I'd say, and then after that we'll be moving onto Polygon. A big part of the Polygon move is because we were really close with a marketplace called One Planet in
Yeah,
in
Terra.
Terra. Yeah, so they're moving there. So just to sort of help, I know they don't really need any help, to be honest. They're crazy good at what they do, and they've got loads of other great projects they're bringing with them. But just to sort of be part of the Terra show that lands on Polygon, we'll prepare our own citizens project for that as well. And maybe the lab will work there as well because Polygon has low gas fees. So
Yeah.
uh, too soon to
So
say on that, but we'll definitely look at that as well.
like since you're doing this cross chain interoperability and having multiple blockchains interact with each other with your revolving around your NFT. So you could say like the transition, like as far as smart contracts and coding was smooth when you're moving blockchains.
Yeah, I'm going to need to. Basically, I'm not a coder. I'm like I do the artwork, I do all like the concepting and like just the general like operations, I guess, of the business of the project. But we have like a really talented coder, Piaga. He's amazing. And we have like a handful of others who are sort of more like on and off coding for us. But Piaga is basically me and him are like the two main full time people working on this project every day. Everyone else kind of is part timing to a certain extent. They do sort of pop in every day, but especially on a development team, it's just Piaga, and then like got really yeah, and then everyone else is sort of just working on almost like a freelance basis. Uh, but yeah, that's the reason why we're pushing all this so hard is because, to be honest, our dream as a project is the real dream for us is to like work on this all the time and like do this as our main jobs. Um, and so that's why we're like pushing this so hard and putting everything into it. But uh, and that's why we're like sort of launching the next collection on Ethereum and like just like going for it because essentially we can't leave our jobs without money, obviously. So just
Yeah,
trying to take care of money first and not only to pay ourselves, but we need enough money to sort of hire freelancers and potentially more people in the future, and then have enough there for at least 2 or 3 months for everything to operate, just for like a safety buffer. And yeah, this is just getting back on it. Like we were doing really well in Terra, and then it just got shut down. So it just feels good to that things at least look promising right now.
yeah. So you told me about the roadmap. Like,
Yeah.
what's the kind of? I could tell this project is like a 3 to 5 year kind of thing. It's not just like you drop it and you go make other collections. It's like a long term plan. So what's the goal for like 3 to 5 years?
3 to 5 year. Honestly, I would. Honestly, I'm not. I wouldn't plan that far ahead, simply because what we already intend to do by the end of this year, we intend to perform our entire roadmap already by the end of this year. Um, and then I don't think it's possible to plan the next step until like that's done.
Yeah.
Um, but it like swirling around in sort of our team's heads is stuff like essentially this is stuff we've already done, by the way, like rigging your character onto 3D models so that they can be you can basically just apply and rig your skins onto different models and go into the metaverse, if you get what I mean.
Yes.
Stuff
Yeah.
like that, like that's essentially that's we already basically apply know how to do it. We've already done it. It's just doing it at scale.
Yeah,
Um, but also, even though like everyone's going on about metaverse and it seems to be just like the easy way to fundraise, um, meta like it's just in my head it's really like a marketing term because metaverses have existed for like 20, 30 years. Like gaming games have already made them. Like they've
exactly. Like
existed for ages and they're
Discord,
great. Like
Discord is the metaverse right now.
yeah, exactly. And so and like our dev, like Piago's background is in virtual reality and stuff. That's his like professional background. And even though it sounds good, it's like it's really gimmicky still. Like people will use it a tiny bit first, it's cool, and then they just stop. It's like not really got much sort of long term draw. It's just really, I think, and I've used VR. I feel the same way. Exact same thing happened to me. I used it like really a lot in the first few days. Then it just slowly drops off until the point where like I never touch the thing, and so I'm a bit reluctant to go down that route until I'm like totally convinced. But I know that there's a lot of projects that sort of off the bat, like basically use it to raise funds,
Yeah,
and then they have to go and do it right. Once you raise the money, you have to then go and do it, and then what? Then you've built something which just basically has that same life pattern that I just described, where like you just use it a bit and then they stop using it. But
it's true.
that's not like my concerns there. But I'm like, that's just my opinion. So
Okay.
I'm sure like other people would be able to give me, would be able to convince me, uh, like a maxi out there. Sure they're around.
Yeah. So I see you guys are like I was in the Discord, like I've been in the Discord for
Ah,
probably
thank you
like
so much.
7 months, yeah. And
What's your name in the Discord?
it's Sachi NFT.
Sachi NFT. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for just being part of the project for so long. That's awesome.
Yeah, we gotta support each other, especially coming from
Yeah,
Terra. Um,
yeah, man.
so
Uh,
like I see you guys
yeah,
are really active and they're always helping people, and that's like really a good thing to see for me. That's why I stuck around for so long because you guys are really quick and swift with responses, and you guys are helping with technical, really anything, any type of questions. And before your guys' mint, it was a lot of people from Terra saying like, "How do I fund my Kepler wallet? How do I buy
yeah,
Stargaze?" So I feel
yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah, it's great that you guys have a community that's helping each other.
Yeah, that's always so in real life I already run like two businesses, right? And it's just it's exactly how I run the businesses in real life. Is always just helping people with what they need done and like going about it a certain way. And if we can't help them, then making sure they know where to find the help they need, or like, or just just guiding them in the right direction. Do what you can. One thing that's been really nice is like me and Piago, like sort of like the core, like let's say builders, but we do have obviously Archangel Raphael, Chubby, PJ, and they're just amazing. Like they just so helpful. And Kai's also a builder, by the way. He's a new addition. He's awesome, brilliant, brilliant guy. Um, yeah, see, so they really, they really help to sort of carry that sort of how to say atmosphere of just friendliness, I guess. And but that, as I said, that's like literally the same way I run all my businesses here in London as well. We deal with like a lot of customers. We run a studio, like a photography studio, so dealing with creatives all the time. And yeah, it is no different. And I'm glad that like people recognize that, and every big company in the world, like if you go to Apple, for example, or Amazon, the customer service is like awesome usually. So it's just it's a necessity. If you want to be a big, or if you want to be successful, you have to do it.
Yeah. So, going off that question, is your
Yeah.
team like fully doxxed?
Yeah. I mean, I was doxxed when I first started PS Labs, but I'm not so keen on it anymore. The rest of my team aren't doxxed, but I know to me they are. Like I know who they are. But the reason why is because on my wedding day, some trolls were like just calling my mobile phone, like my business phone, like crazy. They like found out where my sort of physical what my physical businesses are and all that stuff, and then just started like spamming me, and it was just like really annoying. So I just had to basically switch off the business phone because these people would not stop. And
Wow.
just off the back of that, I realized, you know what? There's like some crazy people online, and I just know like maybe like not putting yourself fully out there it might be a good thing to do. Even though I understand the benefits of being doxxed, and then like that's usually how I'm used to doing business, right? I'm used to doing business in a way where like people know who I am, I know who they are. But after sort of an experience like that, it makes me second guess
Yeah.
whether I really want to be fully doxxed going forwards. So I don't mind people sort of figuring it out by themselves and stuff. I'm not gonna like hide anything, but I'm not gonna like put it out there either. So yeah, I just do it that way going forwards.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I'm sorry that happened to you. Like, yeah,
Ah, it's all right. It's crazy
uh,
people in the world.
it's always one bad apple ruining the whole bunch. So,
Yeah, it's a shame, but it is what it is. Like it just comes with the territory. I think in NFTs and cryptos, like the majority of people, like you said, are great, but there are a few like bad actors, just like people who like all the con artists, all the people who just play out, just basically uh, got mental health problems and stuff,
yeah, it's not
just like
cool.
acting it all out online. So yeah, it is what it is. It's fine though. I got married, having a great time.
Yeah,
Uh,
congrats, man.
yeah. No way, thank you. Yeah, I'm going on my honeymoon on Monday. I had to delay the honeymoon to basically step in and just like fix all of the lab stuff after the big terror crash,
Yeah,
because the terror crash happened. Then I got married like a few days later, so I lost everything. Then got married, and then I was like, uh, okay, I need to take care of this. I need to fix this, and then just spent basically 3 weeks, and then that's where you see Stargaze Citizens, and then yeah, it was like a huge success, and I love the project as well. Like I just think it's so fun. It's so like rich with character and like detail, and like I just can't wait to get back onto it. But currently, we're just dealing with the migration. We need to get that done, and it'll be done very soon.
cool. Okay, so I wanted to ask why you guys decided on the 1600 supply because it's pretty limited, and when I seen the launch pad, it was max 50 NFTs you could get for one wallet, and I knew it was gonna go quick.
Yeah,
So
the
I got
simple
my
answer to
fingers
that.
ready.
Simple answer to that is just time. Uh, Also, there was a worry that like if the collection got too big, maybe it loses its character a bit. It's like more. Uh, once it's really hard at like a certain size to really make sure every character is unique. I guess, especially in like the sort of short amount of time we pulled it all off in. Um, it was so the funny thing about Stargate Citizens is like actually meant to be a commission for another project, and we were doing like a white paper service for them, and then they changed their mind on like the creative direction. So I was basically just sitting on like this. It was meant to be just a 1,111 supply project. Uh, so I was just sitting on this pretty much fully finished project. I just needed, and then the creative direction changed. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to bill you anymore for like basically having to start from the beginning again, but I'm going to sell this collection to sort of cover those losses. And they said fine. So then I just like updated it a lot more. I took the supply just up to 1,600, and I built all the metadata, and essentially then just dropped it, and then people loved it. So we're still working on this guy's other collection right now as well, and that'll be done in like a week or two. But yeah, this how Stargaze Citizens came about. It was like sort of an idea that I pitched to like another project, and then they changed their mind. So it's funny that.
Yeah, this
But we're
this
doing. Go on.
this space is crazy. How fast things can change, and how high, how low the lows will be, and how high the highs will be in such a
Yeah,
short amount of time. It's really crazy.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's all fun at the end of the day. Even NFTs are meant to just all be fun. So, um, and that's all we're trying to build in terms of the lab. To be honest, it's all meant to just be fun. We we don't really, but you know how a lot of NFT projects build stuff for like some form of investment for people, like some kind of staking function, or receiving something out of some liquidity pool somewhere. I don't know, but yeah, ours is like pretty much all trying to be built squarely around just fun, and like the functionality of NFTs, what they can do. But yeah, Stargaze Citizens definitely, I think, hit nails that fun factor in a different way to the X tokens.
Yeah, it really does. Um, my next question is, how was your experience with the Launchpad and working with
Ah,
Stargaze?
so we never did a launch pad. We launched the whole collection as like a stealth drop. We made the smart contract ourselves. We did it all ourselves basically. But we will be doing our next one with Stargaze. Is we did message Stargaze, but I think like they're dealing with a lot of Terra projects or something like that, and just didn't get a reply. And as I said, we had like sort of very strict timings to like our roadmap in general, and like how we wanted to move forward after the Terra collapse. And so it was important that we hit this sort of timing on releasing this project. So we just went for it, and it was obviously crazy smooth. Like it sold out in like 2 minutes, and the
Yeah,
website didn't crash. Hubble tools did crash, but like obviously they sorted out really quick. They're amazing. And yeah, no problems with Stargaze. Perfect. I could like, and I think every user was saying how nice it was, like how good Stargaze is as a market. It's so simple and nice. It works. Uh,
it's really the best experience on all of crypto as far as
yeah, you think so?
UI and
Yeah,
smoothness and the staking ability and the whole gamified version. Like it's addicting to buy NFTs on there. Like I find
yeah,
myself on there every day, going on the alt tab and keep on refreshing, seeing any new projects.
yeah. I like. Obviously, they're so new, but I like how basically we didn't have to do anything. We just appeared on there straight away. Anyway, usually you have to like list yourself for secondary market in Terra and stuff.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, that was all sorted. So yeah, really happy with basically being on Stargaze in general, and like I just feel like we made the right decision. I think on top of that, maybe we're making other projects from Terra kind of consider Stargaze a bit more.
yeah. I
I hope.
hope I hope that they could see what we're doing and they could
Yeah.
come join us and like we'll help you guys out. Like if you guys need
Yeah.
anything.
Exactly, because I'm not sure how many projects have actually gone and done their move already. I know that people have stated what they're going to do, but I'm not sure how many have actually gone and done the launch.
Yeah,
So it'd be interesting to see how everyone does, because I know a lot are going to Solana, but me personally, I don't like the look of Solana. It just looks like a big mess. And
same.
yeah, like maybe Stargaze will become a big mess eventually as well once it hits a certain volume. But uh, yeah, but in answer to the just backtracking a tiny bit, in answer to your supply cap question, I really want to raise the supply on Stargaze Citizens. Um, but there's like certain restrictions that Stargaze smart contracts have. And so I think it's more of a matter of time of waiting until that sort of we're able to append new NFTs to an existing collection, because we need that for the lab collection as well, because that's also an ever growing collection. But at least with Stargaze Citizens, I would like to take it up to like sort of maybe around 5K. Who we'll see. So I didn't think it was gonna sell out that quick, to be honest. But
I,
obviously, the
I
demand.
knew it was. I knew it was gonna sell out in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, I think maybe if we were on the launch pad, if we're on the actual launch pad, maybe we would have sold out in like 10 seconds, not 2 minutes.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's I mean, obviously, it's good for us. But yeah, looking to increase the supply, but obviously, doing that you go is a bit of a tricky one, because people always get upset when you increase supply. But I think like everyone wants more, so they hopefully it would be sort of uh, more people being all right with it, because a lot of people obviously don't want their NFTs watered down, I guess. Um, but yeah, I think if we can make it, if we can just, I think basically the very immediate effect will be like obviously increase in supply. So the value generally tends to stop. But I think if you let that run then over like a few months with everything else we're doing, I think that value will then go back up again over the top of that again. Um, I think all the idea of never introducing new supply, I don't think really is the best way to create more value. To be honest,
yeah.
uh,
It's just gonna water down the
stag.
product.
Yeah, well, yeah. If we bring in new supply, it will water down the project, but as in it waters down people's value of their NFT. But we can bring in like new characters, new everything, so we can make it good still again. But I'm currently not thinking. Basically, the next few steps are uh, Ethereum and Polygon. So we'll see what happens in terms of Stargaze. People would be able to move from Ethereum to Stargaze, Stargaze to Ethereum, Polygon to Stargaze, and so on.
You would, bro.
Um,
I could tell you now. I've done some research on the Tendermint and stuff. It's definitely possible.
yeah. So yeah, then we're going. That's basically exactly what our plan is. So,
Yeah,
and then on top of that, we're going to introduce like a utility that sort of connects everything together on top again, rather than just being able to move your things between markets. We're going to do something where like everyone can communicate with their citizens
yeah,
uh, cross chain and stuff, and do things, do something. I'm not going to say uh, together. yeah,
yeah. It's
yeah.
redacted for now.
Yeah. For now, we're just we're still world building. We're still world building when it comes to citizens. So I just want to get back to world building. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Cool.
So I have a few more questions for you.
Yeah. Go for
This
it.
this might be more for the coder, but like,
Yeah. Go on.
are you guys using keywords to create these their AI generated images?
Yes. It's all prompt based. It's all text based prompts.
So what's the
Uh,
process? Like, do you guys just pick a theme and brainstorm some two-word phrases or
uh,
something? Because I see
uh,
like there's aliens, there's dogs, there's
oh,
animals, there's people, there's
it's very. If I had the whole prompt, it's probably like 80 words.
mm-hmm.
80, 90 words. It's very long. There's a lot of stuff. It's like a lot of art mediums, different artists, different like lighting things, different like sort of rendering engines and visual finishes, and like it's just like, and then like at the beginning you put like alien or something, right? But then it's just like a giant string of just loads of other stuff, and that takes like ages to think of that. Or just basically testing, make it better, improve it, change it, do it again, and that's taken that's like obviously, as you can probably figure out, that's the real sort of value there. That's the real, because anyone can just do this stuff. Like all the AI is open source, but not anyone can basically get the results that we get. Um,
Yeah.
and and then we do some more stuff. Like we don't just render it once. We like uh, we do lots of things to it, and then even after it's rendered, we then color grade it. We retouch them, and then we'll like sometimes like go in there and start like actually compositing the face, and like what I mean by that is like uh, changing around, like making it more symmetrical, like removing like extra eyes or like moving the eye
Mm.
a bit more into the middle of the face or something like this.
Yeah.
Um, so even though, yeah, but so in answer to your question, yes, it starts with a text-based prompt, and then it's then just like we work it again and again and again and again and again until you get like essentially what you see with Stargaze Citizens. So we couldn't do this with the lab stuff, like with the lab stuff that we do at scale. So when Terra collapsed, we couldn't run the lab anymore. So we just like then went down this sort of, okay, we can like sort of focus on like developing our own sort of skills within AI now. We've got like the time, because it was really like when we were running the lab, it was really crazy. Like there was basically no time to work on the art. It was more like working on the workflow, like building the pipeline for taking submissions, rendering them, then air minting it all, and then airdropping it all. Like that whole pipeline. It's about like we were just working on that the whole time, just making that as automated as possible. Um, so yeah, when Terra collapsed, we suddenly didn't have to work so hard on that pipeline. So we worked on just like this leveling up, I guess, leveling up our sort of art.
Wow. Yeah, like I wasn't expecting that because I was wondering how I was thinking it was just two phrases like human, alien, and then you put it
Oh
in and
no,
it comes out with that.
no,
But
no, no. I mean, like, yeah, you can do that. You will get a human alien if you do that. But you won't get it. It won't look like our result. I don't know,
yeah,
unless you press it like enough times. I don't know. I don't know how random it might be, but
because it has like
we,
sort of a like a dark kind of vibe, like eerie deep space kind of vibe.
yeah, it really looks spacey, doesn't it? It's great. It really looks sci-fi. Um, because also when you do these things, if you just put that in, you like like maybe more than 50% of the time you get something that doesn't even, it could be like an illustrated image, like it could look like a drawing or a oil painting or something. So you have to do all this stuff to make sure it doesn't come out looking like a painting, basically. um and then like other stuff to make sure it's like basically a portrait, how it's just like that center view of the face. um and all these other things that all has to be prompted. So uh essentially, yeah, once as I was saying before, plus those things in there, then you can start to understand how then the prompt starts to build.
Yeah,
um
because it's an NFT of the face and like half of the body.
exactly, it's a very specific composition of like the face, like centered, symmetrical, the face looking straight forward, so not angled. um and then like obviously it's cut usually around the shoulder, and then it has to have the whole head in. um so yeah, that's all like prompted essentially. um but yeah, we're actually working on it even further now. We're already rendering actually the next set of citizens, to be honest. And
Yeah,
they look awesome. They look so goddamn good. Like I can't wait.
I can't wait
uh
either.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll let me see. Yeah, I'll show you in time. I'll show
Yeah,
you. I'll
cool.
reveal them.
I would love to
Yeah,
see some behind the
yeah,
scenes
yeah,
work.
yeah,
Yeah, I also see that like each Stargate citizen has a name, and like I
yeah,
thought that was super awesome, and it gives like a cool extra layer of personality to the already like great. art and whole lore of it. So, like, how did you guys choose these names? Was it each after each picture was generated? Did you guys go through all of them and come up with the name,
Yeah.
or were the names random?
So for different, basically, it's all manual. So like all the metadata and everything was built manually by like looking at each character and building it. And then we have about like four of us working on it simultaneously, going through the entire collection, naming every single character, and they're all like sort of just sitting together and talking with each other about how we group them together into like different sort of the royal house of, we got a few royal houses, and then like just sort of how we then, you know because we had like, we called them the ungulates now, but we basically had like sheep, we had like pigs and like all these other little animals. And we are like, do we then have sheep and pigs and all these things? And it's like, but then we have bulls, they're ungulates. But to be honest, I think bulls need like their own category, uh, because they're kind of like iconic, right? In
Mm-hmm.
Terra. So that we gave them their own category, even though they are ungulates technically, and there's like all that. So like basically that whole process, all the metadata building was fully like a manual process, like of sitting down and building the story. Because I think like most of the story, even though the images are so detailed and like beautiful, most of the time beautiful, um, I think most of the charm and the story comes from like the metadata, like these sorts of like building like real citizens through the metadata. For me, that's very interesting. Like, how they have different visas, and like how they come from different cities. They have different visas. They have
Yeah.
like different communities they're part of, and then it really gets. That's when it really gets very rich, and that's when it really. I think that's really what elevates the collection. To be honest, it's that detail in the metadata, because the AI stuff's already nice and interesting, um, but I think where it really gets elevated is in the detail of that metadata, and I'm really glad we went through that, because when I proposed it and I said we're going to do it, like everyone's eyes just sunk, like everyone's head just dropped, and like shit,
More
we
work.
gotta. Yeah, it's like tedious work, man. It's super tedious,
Yeah, it's
but
really like I've noticed being in this space. It's really those little details all around it. Like you guys being in Discord helpful. The awesome kind of theme in the marketing, the names, the whole team behind it, all those little pieces make like a really blue chip project. So it's cool
yeah,
to
thank
like
you.
really know the thought process behind this, and
Yeah,
like I appreciate your time, um, and yeah, like thanks for the interview.
no worries. Thank you so much. Yeah, and just for anyone who's listening, maybe they'll listen after the X collection comes out. Get involved with that, because that's going to be a lot of fun. And we got loads of characters and collections coming out. So uh, next will be Ethereum. We're already going on that, and so yeah, and just thank you everyone who bought Stargaze Citizen. Jesus, thank you so much. Like, our team was honestly like really struggling. I don't think people can really imagine how much like some members of the team were really struggling after that, and this has just in like 2 minutes changed everything. So I'm really thankful, and we're just gonna go for it. Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, I guess I'll just close with that.
thanks, man.